Learning English but find it difficult, confusing, even mysterious? Are you an English teacher but find English grammar easier to use than to explain? Well, don't worry. On this show, I'll be your language detective. I'll answer your questions about the English language and help you solve these English mysteries. It's Hard-Boiled English Live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Hard-Boiled English Live. I'm Teacher Paul, your host, Paul Duke. We are streaming to you live from Vancouver, Canada, west coast of Canada, to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Africa TV, FC2, a whole bunch of platforms. So wherever you are, welcome to the show. On this show, we explore the mysteries of the English language, like language detectives, and hopefully help you solve some of the mysteries and questions you've had about this crazy language. The format of the show is pretty simple. You ask questions and I give you answers. If I don't know the answer, we're going to explore it together. Sometimes we have guests. Tonight is a guest-free show, no guests, so we're just going to focus on going through some questions. I have a few questions outstanding from previous shows we're going to get to first, and then we'll go to your questions. For those of you who don't know me, I'm also the host and creator of the YouTube channel Hard-Boiled English. Anywhere you look for it, just find at Hard-Boiled English and you'll find the YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, there is the video series I make with my students called English Weirdness. This is a long-form investigation into the strange and confusing side of the English language. We use animations, dramatization, hopefully add a little entertainment into your language learning. As a part of October, I'm promoting one of the videos, which is a Halloween-themed video that explores the grammar confusing side of present perfect grammar. And it features a bit of a scary horror movie plot as well. So check that out on the YouTube channel. And of course, subscribe when you get there. Now, once a week, I also host a conversation club that is free to join. And it's your chance to practice English. Together with my co-host Aya, who is a former student of mine, we invite friends from all over the world. And it's not a lesson, so I don't talk as much as I do on this show. It's a chance for you guys to practice your English. So come and join us. You'll have to find me on Facebook at Hard-Boiled English and register in advance. It is free, but I need you to register. Of course, some students want really dedicated, intensive help. And for that, I am available for private lessons. So if you want private lessons with me, one-on-one, go to my website, www.teacherpaul.ca, not .com. Okay? Enough about me. Let's talk about you. What I'd like to know is what country you're watching the show from. So in the comment thread, please say hello and tell me what country you're watching from. So far, we have Chris from Belgium. Welcome to the show, Chris. We have Nok from Vietnam. We have Wako from Japan joining us. Aya's Notes, good evening from Vancouver. We also have Mahudin, I think. Mahudin. I'm not sure where you're from, but I can't see it. Oh, from Bangladesh. Oh, great. And Roni from Bangladesh. Lots of familiar faces. Adil is watching us. Let me just check on something, guys. Sometimes we have platform issues. Okay, guys. Also, I'd like to say hello to Luis. Luis is from Brazil. Welcome to the show, Luis. And Luis is watching on LinkedIn. Oh, that's the other platform this streams to. We stream to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. What else did I say? Africa TV, FC2, and a whole bunch of other things. So if you're just joining the show now, guys, say hello and tell us what country you're watching from. And we'll get things started up in a moment. For me, it's my favorite part of the show is finding out what countries you guys are watching from. Get a sense of our hard-boiled English community out there. So welcome to the show, guys. Just going to check and see if we're streaming correctly on all the apps. Looks like we are. We've got LinkedIn in the house. We've got Facebook. I think, Roni, you're watching from one of the YouTube. Yeah, great. So everything seems to be working, which means we can get going with the show. All right. Well, the way I'd like to start things off every week is to introduce a vocabulary segment. And this year, this year we've been focusing on introducing words that you can use instead of good, because good is pretty vague, doesn't convey a lot of precise meaning, but students love using this word. Good this, good that, good. Subjective. My idea of good might be different than yours. So I like to introduce one new adjective that you can use for a positive meaning every week. So this segment is something we call words to use instead of good. Okay, and today's word is brilliant. It's a brilliant word. Now, there's actually two meanings of this word. One is the literal meaning, and the other one is the metaphoric meaning. And actually, the metaphoric meaning has become the more commonly used one. So the literal meaning is full of light, shining. So on a sunny day, you might describe the sun as brilliant. We have a brilliant sun in the sky, right? Or you might be looking at a brand new car and it's shiny in the sun. So you might say it's shining brilliantly, or there's a brilliant shine on the car. That's the literal meaning. But we often describe people as brilliant, especially people who have extremely intelligent ideas, or they are clever, or just generally really impressive. And I think this makes sense because it's almost as though the sun is coming out of their brains. They're so brilliant. So here's my sentence example. I'm going to put one on the board. Oh, I've got a mysterious question mark here. What the heck's that about? Okay. Einstein was a brilliant physicist. Okay, so there's my noun and there's my adjective. Brilliant physicist. I think everyone knows Albert Einstein, great physicist, brilliant mind, brilliant thinker of the 20th century. So that's a kind of obvious example. Now, that's the basic structure we use adjectives with, right? Adjective plus noun. But of course, we can also use them as complements on the other side of a verb from the subject. Like you can say Einstein was brilliant. Okay, so there's our adjective, and it's describing the subject on the other side of the verb. Okay, so now what I'd like you guys to do is I'd like you guys to try and make a sentence with this adjective. Okay, so type it in the comment thread, and let's see what you come up with. Feel free to be funny, strange. Try not to be rude, but let's see what you can come up with. Be creative. What is brilliant? What could be brilliant for you? Let's see what you come up with. Okay, Chris has one. Chris says, he is a brilliant student. Great. Right? Very intelligent student, very clever. And remember, maybe in a casual way, a sort of slang use, we can call something brilliant just because we think it's impressive, right? Impressive. So you might say, oh, that movie was brilliant. Or, oh, that song is brilliant. The new Adele song is brilliant. It's not intelligent, it's just really amazing, really impressive. Wako says, this is a brilliant live show. Oh, thank you, Wako. I'm glad you enjoy it. Wonderful. Who else has an example for us? Anyone else want to try? What do we have out there? Anyone have an example? Yep, good. Oh, we have Satoru. Satoru's in the house. Welcome, welcome, Satoru. Satoru, we're trying to make sentences using the adjective brilliant, meaning something or someone who is extremely clever, intelligent, or impressive. Okay, Roni has an example. To make a brilliant result, we have to study brilliantly. Excellent, great. So Roni is also using the adverb use. Study brilliantly. Study is the verb. Brilliantly is the adverb of manner. Good example. Wako says, it was a brilliant idea to retake a day off. Okay, it looks like Wako's been playing hooky from school. Or work. We have Wilson joining us. Welcome to the show, Wilson. Wilson from Ecuador. So we have Japan, we have Ecuador, we have Vancouver, we have Brazil in the house. Great to see you all. We have Nock. Nock has an example. My friend is a brilliant teacher. Great example. Okay, my friend is a brilliant teacher. Great. Chris has an interesting example. Oh, Aya says, their performance on the stage was brilliant. Yeah, exactly. So this doesn't necessarily mean intelligent or clever. This would be the meaning of impressive, right? A work of art or a stage play or a performance can be described as brilliant, really impressive. So Chris has this interesting example. She says, brilliantine was a product my late father used to make his hair brilliant. Yeah, it was very common for men to put creams in their hair in an older style to make it shiny and stay in position. And brilliantine gleamed in the light. Great. Satoru has an interesting example here. Brilliant zone. Yeah, this seems like a different word, Satoru. This seems like a different word altogether. In fact, I don't know what that word is. It may be someone's name. In fact, it looks French. So any of our French speakers out there, perhaps Chris, I believe you speak French as well, Chris. Maybe you can identify that word. We also have someone from Uganda joining us, Uganda in Africa. Hopefully I'm not going to destroy your name, but Imparwe, Sylvia, welcome to the show, Sylvia. Nice to have you with us. We have Carla with us. Carla is in the USA. We have Tirath joining us from Nepal. Welcome, Tirath. Tirath has an example. Mr. Thapa is a brilliant math teacher. Yes. Hopefully your math teacher is extremely intelligent, clever. That's what we want in a math teacher. Wilson has another example. He says, I have a brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Great. Great example. Guys, if you're just joining the show, please say hello in the chat box and tell us what country you're in. It's great to have an idea of where everyone is. Anyone else want to try a sentence using this adjective? Oh, thank you. Sylvia. Sylvia, welcome, welcome. It's great to have Uganda in the house. Thank you for joining us. Is this your first time with us? If it is, thank you for joining us. It's great to have such a variety of countries and people joining us. Really makes this show fun. Because also, guys, the way English is used around the world, there are different dialects, different accents, different Englishes, if you will, around the world. And I think it's important that we all share it. Tirath says, I have a brilliant idea. Do you want to hear it? I do want to hear it, Tirath. We also have Maria Fernanda joining us from Brazil. Welcome to the show, Maria Fernanda. Maria Fernanda. Welcome, welcome. And yes, I do remember you. Yes. Great. Great to have you all with us. Guys, we're looking at this new word that we can use instead of describing something as simply good. Every week I give a new adjective to the viewers. Today's is brilliant. And I want you guys to try making sentences. Okay? Okay, great. Anyone have an example? Maria Fernanda says, I miss you, teacher. Well, thank you very much, Maria Fernanda. Hopefully you're well and safe and healthy and doing well in your career or your studies, whatever you're up to. I'd like to hear from you. Maybe direct message me at some point and tell me what you're doing these days. But you don't have to miss me because I'm live every Friday night on this show. So you can always join us here. And by the way, I also run a conversation club Friday morning. It's free to join. Anybody can join, but you have to register in advance. So go to my Facebook profile and you'll see the registration there. But this is every Friday morning at 7 a.m. So it's convenient for some people before they go to work. And it's a chance to practice English and meet lots of really nice friends from around the world. Everyone's welcome. Oh, Sylvia has an example. My mother was a brilliant mother. Great. That's wonderful. Great examples, guys. Really good work. I'm going to clear the board and get ready for some breakdowns, because I have some outstanding questions from previous shows that I ran out of time and didn't have time to answer, and a couple that were sent to me. So, guys, the other thing we can do with this show is you can ask me questions live. Sometimes I can't get to them all because we run out of time, but I'll forward them to the next show. But you can also contact me. You can email me. You can contact me on social media and send me questions, and I'll answer them on the next show. If you do that, that's ideal if you can't attend the show live. You can watch the recording later, which I post on the YouTube channel, Hardboiled English. All of these shows will be available in recording form. So if you miss something, you can come back to it. Okay? Let's clear the vocab word of the day. Try again. Oh, great. Okay. I'm going to go to our first question, guys. And this one's very, very interesting. Somebody sent this to me. I'll send you a message later. Let's look at that one. Cancel, please. Yeah. Okay, so someone asked me, I'll send you a message later or hit me up later. And they're asking, which expression is normal English? Which one do you guys think? The first one or the second one? Type a number in the comment box. Number 1, number 2. Which one do you guys think is normal English? Okay? Pop it right in there. Answer number, I should have numbered these, but number 1 or number 2? Which expression is normal English, in your opinion? Let's see what you come up with. I'll send you a message later. Yo, dude, I'll hit me up later. I'll hit you up later. I guess, yeah, either way. Hey, dude, hit me up later, or I'll hit you up later. Oh, Luis, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you for joining, Luis. I hope we see each other again. Oh, okay, yes, of course. Chris says she speaks French too, and she knows that Léon Nicolas Brion was a French physicist. He made contributions to quantum mechanics, radio wave propagation in the atmosphere, solid-state physics, and information theory. Chris, thank you. So that's not brilliant. That's his family name, Brion. Great information. Speaking of Einstein and physicists, some relation there. So Chris is saying, can we get that caption back up? Chris is saying she thinks number 1 is normal English. Can you put the caption? Perfect. So we have 2 choices here. Number 1, number 2. Which do you think is normal English? Number 1. Wilson, Chris, Wako say number 1. Sylvia says number 1. Tiras says number 1. Chris says number 1, yeah. Oh, hello to Kizir Abbas. Abbas from Pakistan. Welcome, welcome. Great, guys, we have a great variety of countries represented here. So welcome to the show, wherever you are. Great to have you with us. So I'm trying to take a little poll here. Which one you guys think is normal English? This is a question someone asked me, but I want to hear your opinion first. Satoru, which one do you think is normal English? 1 or 2? Okay, then I'll tell you what I think. Aya's note says number 1. Okay. Here's what I think, guys. Oh, Satoru, number 1. Okay, everyone seems to think number 1 is normal English. To answer this question, guys, we have to think about a definition of what we mean by normal. What is normal English? The word normal is really used a lot. Oh, I want to have a normal life. Oh, I want to be a normal person. This expression is normal. I don't even like this word because normal is nothing more than a statistical average. I'm sure you've seen this kind of graph in math or statistics or sciences. And you can describe a lot of things this way: population distribution, all kinds of things. And the highest number of people who do something, so let's say this category is number of people, and whatever you're measuring, saying that expression, it could be sleep hours, whatever you're measuring goes on this way. And the highest number of people who do that activity, that's what we consider normal. It's the middle, right? It's the average. Is that good or bad? Well, it depends what you want, right? Normal doesn't necessarily mean good. I certainly don't want to be a normal person. I don't want to do what everyone's doing. I want to make my own life. I want to do my own things, right? Maybe teaching online like this is not normal. Maybe only a few people do it, or a few other people do it. I don't know. But normal doesn't necessarily mean good. Okay, that's what I want you to understand. The word normal in English really refers to an average. Okay, whatever that is. You know, history is full of things that people did that were normal that weren't good. I'll tell you one example: smoking tobacco. When I was a child in the 1960s, everyone smoked. On TV, you could see cigarette advertisements on Saturday morning during cartoons. It was normal. The majority of people smoked. Was that good? Totally not. They all died of cancer, right? This is dangerous. So normal doesn't mean good. It just means most people are doing it. So this question here, which expression is normal English? Do you want to speak like everyone? I don't know if that's a good goal. I think a goal should be, do you want to be understood by the maximum number of people? Do you want to communicate clearly? That's a better goal. Okay, so which one's normal? The other question to ask is, normal for who? Right? When a language learner, for example, comes to Canada and they want to speak like a native speaker, or they want to learn English like normal people, who are normal people? Right? What people are you trying to speak like? If you're trying to speak like a teenager, maybe number 2 is more common. Maybe more teenagers would say this: hit me up later means send me a message. People my age probably don't say that. So if you're interviewing for a job, I probably wouldn't use this expression because the boss is probably not a teenager, right? Better to use this expression. Okay? So it's maybe more, like Satoru says, a question of formal or informal. This one is very informal. because the word hit doesn't mean send a message literally. If you look in the dictionary, hit means hit, right? So this is a slang expression, hit me up. So who uses it? Well, young people, right? Young people like to have a different language than their parents to separate them. And so the parents don't know what they're talking about. Oh, mom, you're not cool, right? Secret language for their friends. So that's where a lot of slang derives from. Or from subcultural groups within a society that have their own jargon, their own expressions. I'll send you a message later is literal, right? It means what those words say. So is it formal? Not necessarily. It's just simple, right? You could use this in a formal situation. You could use it in an informal situation. Tell you what, if I'm going to talk to my friends, I'm going to say, hey, I'll send you a message later, or I'll message you later, right? I would say that because if I say, hit me up later, at my age, it sounds like I'm trying to sound like a teenager. Because when I was a teenager, we didn't say that, right? It's for a small group, a small age group. So when you're learning English, there really is no normal. There is, are you communicating clearly? And you should think about who you're trying to sound like, because native speaker is a very broad category. It includes children, babies, teenagers, young adults, middle-aged adults, and seniors, and they all speak differently in a way, right? They all have their own slang from a different generation. Trust me, your grandparents, they had slang when they were young too, and you wouldn't know what it is. So you have to think about who you're trying to sound like. What kind of job do you want in the future with your English? Do you want to use it to just sound cool, like a pop star? Well, then you can probably talk like this, right? But if you want to have a higher level of proficiency in English, maybe you want to go to university, maybe you want to work in an English-speaking country, I'd stay away from this because, if you're applying for a job, maybe they don't think it's cool to sound like Kim Kardashian or Justin Bieber, right? They're not necessarily the most educated people. So if you want to get a good job and you want to show them how educated you are and how well you can speak the language, you want to stay away from slang that really comes from teenagers, right? Or, less than educated pop stars. So a lot of what's cool comes from pop culture, musicians, actors, movies, music, sports, popular culture. And the people who use that language are cool because they're successful at what they're doing. Copying them doesn't necessarily make you cool. So which one's normal? Well, they're both commonly used by a lot of people. Which one's cooler? If you ask me, this one's actually not cool. People will say it now, teenagers use it now, but after a couple of years, they'll forget about it and say something different. So it's temporary. It's always cool to speak good English, clear and precise and accurate. That's always cool. So let's not think about normal. Let's think about what's clear, what's precise, and what's accurate. Okay? This was a great question. I have another one I want to discuss. This one is a common problem, so I thought I'd address it together with you guys. I look forward to, what is it? Oh yes, visit. I always run out of room. Okay, I look forward to visit your country. So this person sent this question to me. They said they used this and they were told it was wrong by their teacher, but they didn't. Their teacher couldn't explain why. So I'm going to explain why. The teacher said that's the wrong form to be using, and the student said, "Well, yeah, but that's the infinitive verb: to visit, to run, to eat, to write, to teach, to speak. That's infinitive verb, right? We all know that." So they said, "Why shouldn't I use this?" Well, here's the reason. In English, to has two jobs. The word to has two jobs. One is it's part of the infinitive verb. That is true. right? For example, to eat. The basic part, the basic form of the verb, the infinitive. No tense, no time. Okay? The other use of it is as a preposition. Okay? When it's with the verb like that, it's the infinitive verb. It's not a preposition anymore. It's part of the verb. I know that's confusing, but that's a feature of English. It's not a preposition right now. It's part of the verb. When it's a preposition, it's usually connecting movement verbs. We've talked about this before, like I will walk from my house to the mall. I will walk to the mall. To is a preposition, mall is a noun. The job of a preposition is to connect a noun. The preposition comes first, pre, and then the noun. To the mall. I'm going to work. I want to give this to you. Okay, you is a noun. So when it's a preposition, it is to plus noun. So that raises the big question. In this expression, is it an infinitive verb or is it a preposition? Well, it's a preposition, and I'll show you why. And if it's a preposition, it has to be followed by a noun, not a verb. And I'll show you why. In English, we have a lot of idioms and a lot of phrasal expressions. Some people call them collocations, but they are phrasal expressions. They're one idea built from several words, okay? Here's one. Look forward to. This whole thing is an idiomatic phrasal expression. 1, 2, 3 parts. 3 parts to make one idea. And look at the parts. Look, that's our verb, right? Forward is a direction. It's an adverb of direction. To is a preposition. And if it's a preposition, it must be followed with a noun, okay? And I'll show you where this expression comes from. It's metaphoric, like a lot of expressions in English. It's metaphoric. It's built on sort of a visual idea. For example, if we think of time, time is an abstract idea, and the ancient people had a hard time understanding time. So we used physical expressions to think about time, to make it understandable. This is one of them. If we think of time as sort of linear, like a road, that's why we say things like life is a journey, because time is a road. So if we're on a road or a path or a direction, we can look backward or we can look forward. Okay? And if that's true, if we look forward, what do we see? We see things. I see a wall, I look forward, and I see you. So the idea of looking forward, you're looking forward at something or to something. Some things are nouns. Whenever you say something, it needs a noun. So it's look forward to something. So it has to be a noun, not a verb. And there's 2 forms, basically, of a noun, right? We can say, I look forward to school or the movie. That's a standard 100% normal noun, right? School's a noun, movie is a noun. Things. We can also use gerunds, right? That are built from a verb plus ing turns it into a noun. For example, visiting. That's a gerund. It's not a verb anymore. That's a noun, right? When you put the ing on it, it's a noun. It's only a verb when you have the be verb, like I am visiting or I am standing. Take that be verb away, that's a gerund or a participle. So look forward to something, school. I look forward to school. I look forward to the movie. I look forward to the show. Or I look forward to visiting your country. So try to remember this expression. These 3 parts are together. This is not together with a verb. It's kind of a trick. A lot of people think that it should have a verb here because of the 2. No, you need a thing here. Look forward to. Okay? Hopefully you look forward to next week's show. I'm going to have a special guest with us. Look forward to next week's show. That's a noun phrase. Okay? Which I guess we can put here too. We can have a straight up noun, a gerund, or a noun phrase, a series of nouns, right? Next week's show, right? Satoru has a question to add here. He's asking, you use visit as a noun? Let's pop that up. It is possible, Satoru, using visit as a noun. So we could also put, I look forward to visit. No. If it's a noun, we're going to need an article. I looked forward to a visit. The a tells us it's the noun, not the verb. Or maybe a pronoun. I look forward to your visit, right? So these words in English that can be nouns and verbs, like visit or travel, words that can be nouns and verbs without changing their form, something has to indicate that it's a noun, and that's when we use articles in English. The, a, and we use pronouns, okay? Because if I say your visit, it's clearly not a verb. I can't possess a verb. Your is a possessive pronoun, okay? Okay, Roni's saying, what about come forward to... Well, come forward, it doesn't really... I've never heard that before, come forward. You can say come forward, right? Meaning if someone's at the back of the room, you can say come forward. But I wouldn't say come forward to. This expression has one meaning, look forward to. It means you're excited about the future, right? You're happy and you're excited about something in the future. It's a way to describe time. I look forward to visiting your country in the future. I look forward to it, right? Because time is hard to think about for humans, or at least it was in the old times. We made metaphors. Time is like a road. So what do you do on a road? You look in this direction or you look in that direction. Okay? So Tirath has a good example. He says, I'm looking forward to a visit from my friend. That's exactly it. That's the noun visit. And it's indicated by the article because articles don't come in front of verbs, right? Now, I know some languages, such as Japanese, do not use articles, but this is why they're important in English, to distinguish the verb from the noun if it's the same word. Okay? So if you're having trouble with articles, first of all, you can watch one of my videos on the YouTube channel. There's a video all about how to use articles. And it includes Teacher Paul's flowchart, which if you want, I can give you a copy if you contact me. This flowchart will teach you how to choose articles, when you need them, when you don't need them. So guys, in the future, you look forward to something. It's got to be a noun or a noun form, okay? Let me just see some of these comments. By the way, teachers, I know there's some teachers among us. If you use a dry erase whiteboard, this is a great spray to use, and you can find the link to purchase your own in the description box, as well as my favorite, Arteza dry erase pens. These are fantastic, and they last a long time. So get those from the links in the comment box. So Keezer is saying, whiteboard writing is so small that we can't read it on our mobile screen, sir. Sorry about that. Don't watch it on a mobile screen. Get a bigger screen. Sorry about that. Did I miss something from Wilson? Yeah, Wilson has a good question about nouns. Democracy, citizenship. Go up, up. Right there. So Wilson, yeah. this is a question about using nouns as adjectives, right? And for those of you who are new to English, you need to learn this because it's extremely common to use a noun in front of another noun, and the first noun is an adjective. One look around my room and you can see it. This is a teacup, or a coffee cup. Coffee and tea are nouns. Spray bottle. Spray is a noun, can be a verb. You look around and you see a lot of these things. Computer mouse. What else do we have here? Textbook, homework. There are compound nouns that become so common that the two nouns form one word eventually. Cell phone. Cell phone, right? A cell is a noun, comes from the adjective cellular, but when we say cell phone, that's a noun plus noun. So your example is democracy and citizenship. Both are nouns. So can two nouns follow one after the other? Absolutely. In fact, it's really common in English. So common that I made a video about it. So on the YouTube channel, you can find a video called How to Use Nouns as Articles. This is so common and so frequently appears in English. You really need to understand it. And I believe it's different than Spanish, which is Wilson's language. In Spanish, I think the adjective comes after the noun. In English, having a noun in front of another noun is extremely useful, extremely common. Because the one noun describes the type of second noun. So let me see if I can find a good example for you. I know I'm looking right at one. Well, teacup or coffee cup is the most common thing I can think of, or water bottle, or backpack. What type of cup is it? Cup is a noun. What type or what kind is it? Well, it's a coffee cup, tea cup. Coffee and tea are nouns, but in that case, they're working as an adjective. Oh yes, Chris, thank you. Lapel microphone. Lapel is this part of the jacket, right? These two things are called the lapel. It's a French word. That's a microphone. What kind of microphone? Lapel microphone, right? Sylvia is saying, thanks, Teacher Paul. Yes, I am a teacher. Great. It's nice to meet you. Sylvia, if you connect with me on Facebook, I can send it to you directly on the messenger or something. So let's get together and I'll send you that chart. But in the meantime, watch the video. The video is a great explanation and it's got some entertainment in it. It makes it very clear how articles build to indicate nouns. Okay, let's go down. We have one more question outstanding. Let's go to it. By and until. This is a great question. So someone asked me on the show not long ago, how can we use by and until? In other words, what's the difference? I'm going to give you two ways to understand this. By is used to express a deadline. Okay? For example, this show must be finished by 8 p.m. my time. Must be finished by 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., my camera shuts off. Okay? So finished is an action. And it must be done before then. A deadline is common in school, right? You have a project. It is due, or it must be finished by Friday. After Friday, no more chance. Okay? That's how you use by. Okay, let's have an example. The show must end by 8 p.m. And this idea of end by 8 p.m. means at 8 o'clock is fine, but not after 8 o'clock. It can end before 8 o'clock, like 7:30. I'm not going to do that, of course, but as an example, I can end the show at 7:30, 7:45, 7:50. I cannot end the show at 8:05. Totally forbidden. The camera will melt. Okay? So that's a deadline after which this action, let's get our red marker for verbs. That's the action. That action cannot happen after 8. Cannot. This action must happen before or on the time, at the time, okay? What about until? I'm going to leave a space here and I'll show you why. And I'm going to use the two examples to show a bit of a similarity because this is also why it's confusing between the two. Okay, here we had an action, right? End. And it happens once. The show must end by 8, or the show must be finished by 8, okay? Look at streams. Streamed is not one action. In fact, with this show, the stream started at 7 and continued. So we could say the show streams from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. So what happens at 8 p.m.? Well, the show stops, right? But I'm not saying that. What I'm doing is I'm saying the show streams. I'm emphasizing the length of time. Okay? Now you guys know when the show started. You know it started at 7 because you joined me at 7. So sometimes I don't need to say the from. But if you want to understand until, I want you to remember that from is its partner. Okay? Until is basically like to. From and to. These prepositions always work together in logic. Sometimes we don't say this, but the logic is there, right? I'm going to the mall. From where? Well, from my home, obviously. Okay? So from and until work together in logic. Maybe not, maybe you don't say it, but logically. And what you're doing is you're emphasizing the length of time. The show streams until 8 p.m. Okay? This is a single action that has to happen before 8 p.m., no later. So using by expresses the idea of the deadline, no later than 8. This expression expresses the duration of time. Especially if you know the beginning point, okay? Hey, I want to say hello to John Mario from Colombia. John Mario is joining us. Great. Roni has an example of a noun plus noun. He says football match. Absolutely, right? Baseball game, basketball game. These are noun plus nouns. Football match. Both are nouns. But come back to this, guys. This is the difference between by and until. Until is expressing the length of time something will happen. So if we had a timeline, the first one we would say, this is now, this is the future. And we're going to say the show must end before or on that moment, on that time, or at that time. On that moment, the show must end. It cannot go after. So we don't know when it's going to end, but it has to end before 8, right? The second example emphasizes something different. If this is now, and here is 7, and there's 8, the second sentence is showing us, it's expressing this thing, this idea, the length of time. It was streaming here, it was streaming here, streaming here, streaming right now, stream, 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 stream. Not a single action. End is a single action that has to happen somewhere in this time. Okay? We have Umar joining us. Okay, I don't know what you're promoting, Umar, but it's not cool for you to come on my show and promote. So, delete that if you can. But nice to meet you. John Mario, how are you doing? I think John had a baby recently. If that's the case, congratulations. I might be wrong. Okay. Does that clear that up, guys? By and until. Okay. Now we have some teachers with us tonight, so I have a question for you guys. Teachers, what are some questions your students ask you? What are the common questions that your students ask you? Tirath, if Louise is still with us, Sylvia, what are the questions that your students ask you? Maybe questions that you have a hard time explaining or you'd like to clarify here on the show. Are there any strange English mysteries that your students ask you? Now's a chance to talk about that. Can we pop that caption up, the last one? Yeah. Teachers, what are some questions your students ask you? Thank you, Wako. Yes, it is clear. Thank you. Anyone? Teachers out there. Tirath, Sylvia, what are some questions your students ask you? I've shown you some of the ones that students or learners asked me recently. What are some of them that they ask you? Despite. Yeah. Yeah. Students have a hard time with despite. With despite, we need a noun after it, like despite the rain, I'm going outside. And we have another expression which is in spite of. In spite of, and the meaning is virtually identical, but we have a preposition here, and that should tell you that a noun should come next. So, for example, in spite of the rain, I'm going outside. Right? So students often get this mixed up. I want to say hello to a couple of people joining us. We have Krishna joining us. What country are you in? Krishna. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Yeah, Sylvia, that's a good one too. No sooner. Any sentence. This is a great. We could do a whole show on this one. Teachers, if you want a great product for clearing your board, Expo Whiteboard Cleaner. You can get them in the link down below. What's great about this is that as soon as you spray it, it dries instantly, so you can write on the board right away. You don't have to wait. Okay, John's in Catalina's page. Okay. Can we go back to that question? I think I missed something that Sylvia said. No sooner. Yeah, so no sooner. No sooner, not only, never. There's another one that's very useful. These are all negatives. They've got ends, for example. That tells us they have they're a negative meaning. When you start with something negative, we have to do what we call inversion. So a normal sentence has a subject and a verb, right? I eat pizza. But if you start with a negative expression, we have to invert these, right? Verb, subject, like a question. So you have to say things like, no sooner had I eaten when the phone rang. Not only did I eat pizza, right? Look at this. If you just look at that part, those are questions. Had I eaten? Did I eat pizza? Those are question structures. But when we start with a negative, oh, here's another one. Only if. Okay. So these are all negative expressions. So the rest of the clause has to be inverted. Never have we eaten pizza, for example. That's negative inversion. Very common problem. What's Wilson asking? What's the difference between upset and upsetting function in a sentence as adjectives? So Wilson, upset is a verb, right? So subject verb. Let's say the movie, you watch a sad movie, the movie upset me. Subject, verb, object. The movie upset me. It did that action. It made me upset. The gerund form, upsetting, we can use it like this. It was an upsetting movie. So this is the gerund form, but if it's in front of the other noun, we call it the participle. So it's acting like an adjective. Upsetting movie. But like we just said earlier, we can use noun structures plus nouns, noun plus noun, and the first one's an adjective, and a gerund is a noun. So this follows that pattern. Upsetting movie is basically noun plus noun, and the first one's acting like an adjective. So it still fits that pattern, right? Krishna says, I'm from India. Welcome to the show. Great to have India with us. I want to speak English. Can you help me, sir? Yes, you can join my weekly conversation club. It's a chance for you to meet international friends and practice your English. It's free, but I need you to register. So go to my Facebook page and register for this free conversation club. Wilson says, I saw in the Cambridge Dictionary that upset is an adjective. Do you have an example, Wilson, that we can look at? I'm not going to disagree with Cambridge. Cambridge is an authority on English because Cambridge is in England and the English people invented the darn language. Let me explain it to you. Let's start with this. Upset can be a verb and it can be a noun. Okay? I just showed you the verb example. The movie upset me, or the bad food upset my stomach, right? That's the verb. But we can use it as a noun too. Okay? For example, when you're expecting Real Madrid to beat Barcelona, but Barcelona wins, we call that an upset, right? You weren't expecting that result, so we call it an upset of your expectations. So that's an upset. But like I just said, we can use nouns as adjectives. So we can say this: I have an upset stomach, right? I have an upset stomach. Stomach is a noun. Upset, is that a verb? Is that the verb meaning? We have a verb here. I have an. So after an, we need nouns, not verbs. So that tells us this is the noun. An upset stomach. Noun plus noun. But this one is acting like an adjective. Okay? So that's why Cambridge tells you that that's an adjective also. It's possible to use it as an adjective, right? But I would start with the idea that it can be a verb and a noun. And if it's a noun, we can move it to that position and use it as an adjective. Algie Lacey has a good example. I'm feeling very upset. Okay? So this is using it as a complement, an adjective complement. I'm feeling very upset. So upset is describing the subject I'm. Good. Yoshishige is with us, watching our lesson on TV. Great. Roni says, teacher, can we inversion sentence in our academic English? Why do we use inversion? Inversion is a way of emphasizing the negative beginning. When you start with a negative, you are changing the emphasis of the whole sentence. Okay? I think that's a great topic for a future show, Roni, negative inversion, because there's lots of different examples of it we should look at. So let's do that next week. But guys, my camera is about to melt, so I'm going to have to say goodbye to you. So just remind you guys, if you haven't already, check out the YouTube channel because we have nouns as adjectives video. We have a video about articles. Sylvia, I want you to get in touch with me on Facebook and I'll get you that chart. And of course, you can use it with your students. And guys, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions today. I will record them and get to them next week. And next week we'll have a guest with us as well. So thank you for joining us tonight, guys. It's been great seeing all your countries represented here. So thank you very much. I'm going to go down the list and say thank you to everyone individually. Thanks to Ejil, Chris, Nok, Wako, Aya, Roni, Mohudin, I think, from Bangladesh, Luis from Brazil, Satoru, Wilson, Sylvia, our new friend from Uganda. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us, Sylvia. We had Carla from the USA. We had Tirath from Nepal. Maria Fernanda from Brazil. Kizir from Pakistan. We had John Mario from Colombia. We had Krishna from India. We had another John, I think. And Yoshishige. And Algie. Algie, what country are you in? Didn't mention. Did I miss that? Algie Lacey. I'm not sure how to say your name. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you very much for joining me on this weekly live show. It's been wonderful working with you, trying to solve our English mysteries, right? Don't be afraid of English. I know it's confusing. I know it's strange, right? I'm here to help you solve these mysteries, right? I'm here to help you investigate and explore and understand these mysteries. It's not just a question of teaching you grammar and following rules. It's trying to understand the patterns and structures of a language that we're doing here. Algie says Canada 10, Brazil is, yeah, would be an upset. Great. Korean lesson, Korean study. Awesome. So yeah, guys, what we're doing here is we're investigating and trying to understand the language, right? So come and meet me next Friday, 7 p.m., same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the west coast of Canada. Bring your questions, your English mysteries, and we'll solve them together, guys. So just to review, check out the YouTube channel. Good videos there explaining English weirdness. I think it's episode number 3, nouns as adjectives. Don't forget to check out the Halloween episode. It explains present perfect. Join the Conversation Cafe and come and practice your English. Register on Facebook with me. And if you need private lessons, I'm always available. So contact me and we'll talk about meeting up online, okay? Guys, I want you to take care of yourself, stay healthy, eat well, get your rest, exercise if you can. Take care of your health in these tough times, okay? Keep learning English. Think of questions to ask on the show next week. Until that time, guys, as always, stay cool.